Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode at Conserving World's Finest Comics number 79. And you can see the cover has been in water, so definite water damage all around the top and the sides of the book and some other areas, right? And the sides here you can see there is fungus growing, right? There is like a black mold growing in here. So I'm going to try to remove this black mold, but of course the color here has already faded. And you can see some writing on the book as well by, it looks like 3 different authors, right? Superman himself, then there's a Joanne, and there's a Joanne, and then there's pals written, right? So I think the writing here on the book may be difficult to remove. It looks it's all ink. We're going to try to remove it. If we can't, we can't. But at least the fungus will be removed, not fully, but at least will be dealt with in an effective way, in that we're going to kill the spores of the fungi so they don't come back, right? So let's take it out and examine it. And I have everything out of the way in my room right now at this point, so it's not in contact with any other books or paper, anything like that. And I should be wearing a mask when I do this, but I'm not wearing a mask at the moment. Take a look. So it's bagged in Mylar with acid-free boards, and these I got these from Bill Cole Enterprises. I bought them a while ago, back in the time when they were cheaper, but I even then thought they were expensive, even back then, right? So I got these maybe 20 years ago now. And you don't need to change them, right? If you have backing board that is acid-free from Bill Cole's Enterprises, along with his Mylar bags, there is no need to change sleeves and comics all the time. Although this one, once we conserve it, we're gonna have to put it in a new sleeve, so the transfer of the fungus from the Mylar won't go into the conserved book. So let's look at the back side. First of all, the spine. You can see the spine is almost fully split, and there is definitely rust on the staples. There is rust migration, it looks like, also, and the back is in no better condition, right? Really just as bad. So this is very difficult to conserve, in that to remove this mold you need to treat first the mold itself, kill the mold, and then conserve it, right? It carries actually to the back wrap. You can see the rust migration there, and you can see the mold here on the back wrap. And looks like the second from the back, the third from the back, the fourth from the back, and it carries and carries into this area here, right? So if you look at the, take a look at the center fold here. Yeah, I mean, this rust migration needs to come off, all right? And so it's a lot of work to do that, but we're gonna have to throw away these staples. These staples are on their last leg. We won't be able to restore them. So we have to use Golden Age staples from the period and replace them for this book once we're done with it. Is it worth all that work? I think so, right? Because, you know, as a collector, I have a standard at evaluating the conditions of the book, but also I also value these books because they are not printing them anymore, as Jerry the Jitterbug says, right? They don't print them no more. The book otherwise looks complete, right? The interior of the page has color on the interior from the period the book was in water or was wetted. So we're going to start off by actually getting rid of the mold, killing the mold first, and then dealing with the rest of the project. All right. So the question now is how we're going to kill this mold. So I put the book back in the sleeve, and the question is how are we going to kill this mold? We can put it in the freezer for a few weeks, and that when we take it out, it should kill the majority of the spores, but not completely. So it's not a good way to sterilize this book. Another way of doing it is to stick this in the autoclave. High heat will definitely kill this mold, right? One thing I don't want to do is wipe it out right now. I want to keep it the way it is. And then after I put it in the autoclave, then I'll take it out and then get rid of the mold spores, right? So the autoclave is just a large pressure cooker, essentially. It's going to heat up the book to 120 degrees centigrade. There's going to be some damage to the paper, but the paper is already damaged, right? So damage to the cellulose fibers actually won't be for too long because it's not a long exposure. It's going to be short exposure, 15 minutes or so to 121 degrees centigrade. After that, we'll bring the temperature down quickly, and the book at least will be sterile and you'll be able to deal with it, right? Another way of doing this is to use gamma radiation. Who has gamma radiation? Of course, major institutes would have gamma radiations, medical institutes. I don't have access to that at my university, so I probably won't be using gamma radiation, right? So the logical approach to this is to put it in the autoclave, kill the spore, and then deal with conserving the book. All right, guys, so we're gonna have quite a project on our hands here. It's a lot of work for a book that isn't worth much to begin with, but all these books are treasures to me. And what's not to love about World's Finest with both Batman and Superman and Robin on the cover, right? So this book tells the story of the three magicians of Baghdad, and here they are, 1, 2, 3. And here's Superman flying Batman and Robin on the magic carpet, which is supposed to fly on its own, but it doesn't do a good job, I guess, without Superman being there, right? So we're going to try to remove this mold. Isn't that terrible? We're going to try to autoclave it first to disable the spores, to kill everything, to kill the mold and its spores. It's going to weaken the fiber of the paper a little bit, but not by much. In my opinion, it's a necessary step to do for certain books. So I'm going to put this in the autoclave. And if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm not right, I'll confess to it and show it to you on Thursday what happened, right? So either I destroy this book or I'm going to be able to save it. All right, so we will begin with this project soon. And I'm going to take it with me to work tomorrow and stick this in the autoclave and see where we get at, right? I'm going to remove the staples first, get rid of those. And then I'm going to take it out, wrap it in some paper, put it inside an autoclave bag, essentially, and stick it in the autoclave. And I've done this before on some other books. There was really no perceptible damage to them, right? We're going to have to resize the cover afterwards because this cover has been in water. So it's not going to escape resizing. We have to do it. All right, guys, stay tuned.